Welcome back. Today, we're going to be looking at something a little different.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going to analyze a real job interview.
interesting.
Yeah.
What kind?
So this is a software engineer interview at Google.
Oh, wow. Google. Okay.
Yeah, for their Google Pay data platform.
So we get to see how they actually interview candidates.
Yeah, we're basically flies on the wall for this one.
Yeah.
We get to observe how the candidate, his name is Mateo,
Okay.
navigates the whole interview process, all the technical stuff and like the behavioral questions too.
I see. So for our listeners out there, whether they're in tech or not, what can they get out of this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a lot to learn here.
Hmm.
I mean, we can unpack how Mateo showcases his skills, how he answers those tricky questions that always come up in interviews,
Yeah.
and even how he gets a feel for Google's work culture, by asking his own questions at the end.
Right. Because it gives us a window into what they're looking for in
Exactly.
a potential employee.
Exactly. So it's really like a masterclass in how to think strategically
Yeah.
and communicate effectively,
Sounds good.
all in like a real world scenario.
Yeah.
So are you ready to dive in?
I am. Let's hear it.
Okay, so the interview is between Mateo, he's the candidate, and Maria, she's the interviewer. So listen closely to how Mateo structures his answers,
Okay.
because there might be some subtle cues in there that reveal what Google really values in their employees.
Good morning, Mateo. Thank you for joining this interview for the software engineer role in Google Pay data platform. Let's start by discussing the role briefly. It involves building secure and privacy-compliant data pipelines, collaborating with teams to ensure data availability, and maintaining infrastructure. How does that sound to you?
Good morning, Maria. Thank you for the opportunity. That sounds like a great match for my skills and experience.
Wonderful. Why don't you start by introducing yourself and sharing a bit about your background?
Sure. I'm a software engineer currently working at Pomelo, focusing on full-stack development with technologies like Node.js, React, and AWS. Previously, I worked at Newbie, where I develop web applications and back-end services. I've also optimized data pipelines and worked on scalable solutions.
That's impressive. Can you walk me through a specific project where you worked with large data sets?
At Pomelo, I handled transaction data processing for a fintech client. We faced issues with processing times during peak loads. I implemented partitioning and parallel processing using Node.js, reducing times by 30%. I also collaborated with the DevOps team to optimize costs and ensure scalability using AWS.
That sounds like a challenging project. How would you design a data pipeline for real-time transactions, ensuring security and compliance?
I'd use Apache Kafka for real-time ingestion and Apache Flink for processing. Security would involve encryption at rest and in transit with role-based access controls. I'd also implement monitoring with tools like Grafana and ensure compliance with privacy standards.
Excellent approach. What experience do you have in optimizing SQL queries for large-scale datasets?
At Newbie, I optimized SQL queries for reporting tools. I used indexing, avoided unnecessary joins, and partitioned tables. For one query that took 10 minutes, I restructured it and reduced the execution time to under a minute.
Great example. Let's shift to a behavioral question. Can you describe a time when you faced a challenge working with a team member?
At Newbie, a teammate resisted adopting a new code review process. I scheduled a one-on-one meeting, understood their concerns, and offered guidance. This helped resolve the issue and improve team collaboration.
That's a good approach. How about a time when you had to make a critical decision under pressure?
At Pomelo, I found a major bug hours before product launch. I decided to roll back the changes and coordinated with a QA to run additional tests. This decision avoided an outage and ensured a successful launch.
Excellent. How do you prioritize tasks when working on a critical platform with multiple stakeholders?
I assess tasks based on impact and urgency, using tools like Jira to organize them. I ensure alignment with stakeholders through regular communication and plan testing and deployment carefully to minimize risks.
That's well thought out. Can you share a recent experience where you solved a technical issue creatively?
Sure. In a project at Pomelo, I needed to reduce API response times. Instead of adding more infrastructure, I optimized caching and streamlined the queries, cutting response times by 40%.
Impressive. Now let's discuss your familiarity with debugging tools. Which ones do you frequently use and how do you approach debugging?
I frequently use Chrome DevTools, Postman for API testing, and VS Code's debugger. My approach involves replicating the issue, isolating the problem area, and systematically testing solutions while documenting everything.
That's a solid method. How do you stay updated on industry trends and new technologies?
I follow tech blogs, attend webinars, and participate in coding communities. I also dedicate time each week to explore new tools and experiment with personal projects.
Good to hear. What do you enjoy most about software development?
I enjoy problem solving and building solutions that make a real impact. The process of turning ideas into functional applications is deeply satisfying.
That's a great mindset. What do you think are your key strengths that make you a good fit for this role?
My key strengths are problem solving, adaptability, and a commitment to writing clean and efficient code. I also excel in collaborating with teams and continuously improving systems.
Wonderful. Do you have any questions about the role or the team?
Yes. How does the team measure success for engineers? What tools and technologies does the team primarily use? And what professional development opportunities are available at Google?
Great questions. Success is measured by the reliability and impact of the solutions delivered. The team uses a mix of big data tools, including Apache Kafka, Flink, and GCP services. Google also offers extensive training programs and cross-functional projects for growth.
That's fantastic. Thank you for answering my questions.
Of course. Mateo, thank you for your time today. We'll review your responses and get back to you within a week. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Maria. I look forward to hearing from you.
Have a great day, Mateo. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Maria.
Okay, wow. I don't know about you, but
I was getting nervous for him just listening to that.
he did handle himself very well. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
He clearly came prepared.
He did. It's clear that he did his research.
Yeah.
I mean, I especially liked
Mhm.
how, he didn't just list like technologies on his resume.
Uh-huh.
He gave specific examples, like using Node.js
Right.
to improve those processing times
Right.
and AWS for scalability.
Mm.
That's huge.
That's a great point. Because a lot of candidates, they might just name drop buzzwords.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But Mateo actually showed his understanding, like how these technologies solve real problems in the real world.
Totally.
That shows a much deeper level of knowledge than just like reading it in a textbook.
Absolutely.
You know?
And then when Maria asked him to design that data pipeline
Yes?
for real-time transactions, ooh, that's where things got really interesting.
Yeah.
He throws out Apache Kafka and Apache Flink. Did you catch that?
I did. Okay, so for our listeners who might not be as familiar with those, Apache Kafka,
Right.
this is a platform that is specifically designed for handling those high volume,
Huge amounts of data.
those real-time data streams. Think of it like a super efficient messaging system that can just process millions of transactions per second.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a really popular choice these days for companies that need to deal with data, at that scale and speed.
Constantly.